Hi everybody, I'm doing a session for clients. So I'm going to be sharing psychic wisdom and energy healing. If any of you are interested in booking a session with me, you can do so at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. All right, thank you so much for the opportunity to connect with you today. And thank you also for sharing with all of us here on YouTube. I'm going to read your goals out loud and get started. Okay. And we're going to work on covering basically everything. My goal is always to cover everything, but let's just see what comes forward, okay? I love all of these goals. Okay, say, Dear Abbey, will you connect with my womb and ask my sacred passion what is needed to bring in new life? I'm going to start by really absorbing this question in, okay? Very specific question. All right. And my son Xavier, I lost him in 2013. His date of birth is 2/9/12. He was born incredibly premature at 27 weeks and 6 days. He came in fighting for life. Losing him devastated me. He died at 5 months, 5 days from acute pneumonia. Would you contact him? He's connected to a beautiful crystal soul on earth, his biological mother. And I would appreciate sending love and light her direction also. Thank you. Son Xavier. In his connection with a beautiful crystal soul on earth, which is his biological mother, and to send love and light her direction. Absolutely. Okay. All right, here we go. There's the next one. Also, would you connect in with colors neon? You got it. If Archangel Michael has any advice, I'm all ears and eyes. Thank you, Abbey, for sharing who you are so generously with all of us. And I appreciate bringing awareness to places in mine and everyone's psyche that can use conscious light and healing energy. Thank you so much for saying that. Archangel Michael, any advice? Connecting with colors neon, you got it. Neon colors, Archangel Michael, any advice? Son Xavier. He died at 5 months, 5 days from acute pneumonia. So I'll contact him and also connect with his biological mother to send love and light her direction. And we're going to start here, okay? Will you connect with my womb and ask my sacred passion what is needed to bring in new life? Okay. I am so ready for this. I'm going to relax and get started here. Going direct to the womb. What is needed to bring in new life? I want to get the exact words here. Connecting with womb, asking your sacred passion what is needed to bring in new life. Okay. The sacred passion within your womb. What is needed to bring in new life? Oh, wow. It's a winding road, okay? And it's strange. It's very red in color. And I'm sort of like a dusky man, and I'm standing here at a train track, and it's kind of in a mountain or underground, and the soil, the cave is red in color. It glows red, okay? And this path, which is a train track, is kind of a long ways, and we're not moving forward just yet, but it's almost like my consciousness is moving down the track, and it's like, wow, how are we going to go upside down and inside out and whirl around over here and then go down there and then around there, and then it's like all loop-de-looped all over the place. And I say, nah, 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 nah. It doesn't have to be this complicated. Why do you want it to be this complicated? Guides say, who's the dusky man? I say, I don't know. Okay, let's find out, shall we? I'm adding a plant to the picture. It's a small cactus. And it has basically a head and then 2 arms, okay? And it's rounded, obviously. It's real cactus-like. It's got 3 parts, okay? Cactuses kind of look like people, you know? It's like its hand is kind of like it's waving, so it's sort of upright. Its other hand is kind of also upright, but not as upright as this one. And I'm putting this in the corner. He's got a patch over one eye. He's a desperado. He's very, like, classically dressed. And he has a gun holster, and he's got, like, bullets on him. And he even kind of pulls the gun because it's a smoking gun, okay? He's got a cowboy hat. So he's saying, okay, I'm not allowed to look into the past, all right? So I can't look behind us. And where he says where one train track stops, another train track begins. And to bring a new life, you must now see that you are in a new life. You are in a new life. You are beginning a new train track. You yourself are a reflection of bringing in new life. You yourself are, okay? You yourself are a womb of your own divine life. Like, you are birthing in a new life. Right now, that's what he's showing me, okay? He keeps showing me that this train track stopped, but I can't. I'm like trying to look. I like standing here with my legs apart, and I'm trying to look between my legs because I'm not allowed to turn around. So all I can see is the end of a train track. It blatantly stopped, okay? And then about a foot ahead, there's the start of a train track. I say, okay. So I'm wiping the slate clean of what we would define in our minds as past. And past is made up of memories, right? And memories are just connected and connected and connected. And we kind of work with the past in order to work in the present into the future, you know? And so we're basically kind of scrubbing the chalkboard clean. And so we have a blank slate. And you yourself are birthing forth new life. He's strange because it's like he's telling me these things, but I never see his mouth moving. And I never can really see his face entirely. It's almost like the lighting makes him a bit mysterious, you know? So, and then plus he has a patch over one eye. So he's got this kind of mysterious dusky man effect to him. Let's see here. Everything is paused right now. It's almost like I'm adapting to the environment. I'm adapting to the ideas. I'm at the start of the train track, which is the beginning of something new. And I can't take a step. And I say this like, gosh darn it, I can't take a stinking step. And I kind of say this, and I put my heel, like I kind of stamp one of my feet like really hard in this dusty red. And then it kicks up some dust, but it doesn't go very far. And I don't feel like I'm going very far. And I have all this life ahead of me, even if it is like a crazy roller coaster ride. I have all this life ahead of me, and I can't even get started on it. Okay, this is in your womb. This is where your sacred passion is, okay? So this is where I'm at right now. Is this about birthing forth an actual newborn baby, like a physical child? Right now, this is about birthing forth new life, okay? We start in the birth of new life. That's what I'm being shown here, okay? I say this is so funny. It's almost like our frustration is like making these stomps on the ground. But oddly enough, these stomps are being collected and it's starting to create a song. And the song is kind of like, I don't know, it's like a percussion thing, okay? Because there's like I don't know, maybe the spoons going, like the spoon man, and there's like the bongos, or I mean, there's like all these like beats and noises like this, and it's like it's like sounds that you make just doing random things, like amongst what is a real percussion band that doesn't have like a snare drum. It's more like bongos and sounds like spoons sounds and things like this, and it's fun. I almost expect there to be somebody like blowing on a big jug or something a little more like hillbilly style. But it's great. It's really lively. It feels like a full-fledged musical event going on here, and it's just beats and noises. And it starts with frustration, okay? The frustration kicks up this red dirt, but then it starts to become beats and noises that make an awesome musical event. That is the beginning of your train track. An awesome musical event that begins with frustration. Frustration kicks everything in gear, becomes a musical event. And now the Dusky Man is actually revealing a smile, okay? And I'm insisting you take that patch off his eye and remove the hat and expose himself. But not yet, okay? Not yet. I tell him, okay, so I've done the frustration. I experienced a musical event. I loved it all. You're starting to reveal more of who you are, but we're still not moving. We're still not going anywhere. I feel this is frustrating. Like it's starting to come back like, oh, something's sparking. Something's going on. Things are happening. Nope. Still not going anywhere on this train track. I see in the distance the roller coaster of my future. And it's actually, I'm kind of welcoming this new experience. I'm welcoming in whatever comes next, but I can never get to it. I can't get into what comes next. So I'm constantly just looking at what is the path that I can never get onto. Exactly. I'm almost like in the intermission between what was and what is, and I can't kind of cross the lines yet. I'm just stuck in between an ending train track and a beginning train track. So there's frustration, there's a musical event, there's frustration. So it's kind of, that's where we're still stuck in this, okay? We're still in this. Okay, I'm looking at the cactus again. I see. Okay, so cactuses thrive in environments. They don't thrive in tropical jungles. Cactus, I don't believe there's cactuses in jungles. I mean, I'm pretty sure they thrive in just dry climates. I mean, maybe cactuses have been found in other climates, but I think primarily deserts, right? That's where we put cactus in desert. And so cactuses thrive in harsh environments. And so there is a dryness to the environment, like it's kind of dried up, but the cactus thrives, all right? So where a majority of all life will not thrive in this desert, the lone cactus will. And that is a unique gift of the cactus itself, okay? Interesting that plant is a representation here, which means there's a parallel to you and your life, okay? Plus it's waving and it's really polite and friendly. It's not like a hurtful cactus, but it's almost like a representation of thriving in harsh environments. I don't know why I feel like the cactus is, I feel like we've moved on. So I'm taking the cactus and I'm literally like chucking it out a window. Like it's kind of a funny thing because there's a silly cartoon noise like whoop, and there goes the cactus. But what do we have next? And I was like, what do I have? There's nothing here. Literally, what do I have now? And I can't seem to make anything out of thin air. So I'm just waiting. And my guide say, why did you feel so like it was time to get rid of the cactus? Why didn't you just keep it? So you at least had something more. And I said, it didn't. Having more things doesn't necessarily mean you have more. Letting go of what no longer serves your purpose, because this cactus is a reflection of what isn't really your path anymore. Feels like the harsh environment isn't necessarily where the cactus thrives, isn't necessarily the next you. I mean, what if you're more like a jungle flower instead of a desert flower? You know what I mean? Like you're more of a different type of plant now. You need a different type of environment. So the cactus represents an energetic environment that no longer suits your vibrational needs in this life lessons, all that stuff. You're becoming the mysterious plant now. We don't know what it is. So just because the cactus isn't there to look at doesn't mean that there's less here. It means that we understand something, and now what? Still waiting for something to happen. I'm not supposed to go into any of the other goals just yet. I need to continue with this. So I'm just standing here, still. I see the dusky man is disappearing and his clothes just fall to a pile on the ground. And I'm not allowed to touch this man's clothes. And I'm not allowed to take a step. I'm not allowed to look between my legs at what was in the past. I can't really move. And it's like, I'm kind of clapping to the universe in my mind since I can't move. I'm clapping and I say, real funny, real funny. So I'm still standing here. Thank you so much. And this is it's like, why are you dragging me along like this? You're towing me along like this, universe, and I'm ready for the next step. I'm ambitiously, excitedly, passionately ready for the next step in my life, this birth of the new life, and I can't get to it. It kind of, on a small level, I think of myself as like 10 years old and wondering what it might be like to drive a car, and it's like, wow, if I was an adult, I could do this and I could do that, and man, if I could just be an adult and I could do all these things and live my own life the way I want to live it, and and then you get like another year older, another year older, another year older, and oh my god, I'm driving a car now, like that you're 15 and you're not quite with your driver's license yet. Maybe you have your permit, but you're just not legit yet. So it's just like year after year, it almost feels like so much time in between getting to the next exciting process of self-discovery, okay, which is living life, this new path of living. So that is where the spark is coming from. That is where the spark is coming from. We're in between what is the end of a train track and the beginning of a train track. We're not on that train track yet. And what it's doing is having you go into the archives of yourself and to turn the pages and to look at what's been there and to feel your connection with it. And so that is, the path is moving forward, but it's like that internal exploration. So you're in motion going through the archives within yourself, which takes us to Xavier. What does Xavier have to do with the birthing of new life? What does Xavier have to do with the train tracks? Why was it, Xavier, that you are coming across in your archives? I feel like I need to ask this question. Oh, it's kind of like a Garden of Eden. And you're like an Eve representation, although you're not the first woman. I feel that there's a community of Garden of Eden people, and you're a woman in this Garden of Eden environment, and you're a bit shy, and you're naked, but there's no experience of real nudity, but I'm trying to understand what you're shy about. You're kind of hiding behind really massive leaves. And you're peeking through cross sections of leaves to see through a very tiny window into what's going on in this open space in between trees. And something makes you sad inside your being, because as a Garden of Eden person, vibrationally, it states that you don't have a heart because your whole body is your heart. And so your whole body, it's not like you feel this in your heart space, in your heart center. You feel it everywhere because your body is your heart, your whole body is. That's important. I emphasize that. Your whole body feels something. And it feels very loudly a sense of lack, sense of, why are you withholding yourself? You're so innocent in each instinctive behavior, and nobody questions each other's behaviors because everybody behaves entirely intuitively, instinctively, and because nobody has a need to question those behaviors because everybody is following their heart, which their entire body is their heart. And what we would say as today's humans looking at you, we would say, oh, you're sad about something. But what the vibrations say is you're intuitively responding. Okay, you're intuitively responding. So we're not basing it upon like a loss of some kind because there's no lack here. There's just an intuitive response. We today would define it as lack or loss of. But Eden people, they don't lose anything. Even if a child were to die, they didn't lose a child because nobody loses anything. This concept of losing something is something we decided for today's world, that we lose things. But remember, we're all whole. We have everything. Whether that's we have that possession or we don't have that possession, we have that person or we don't have that person, we still have everything. You never lose anything. You only experience the illusion of losing something. So Eden people don't lose anything. So there's no actual definition of loss taking place here. We, though, would define this as loss. And I will say, I don't know how to find the language other than to work with the present day human and say that you've lost something. I don't want to say that, though. I want to say you express a feeling of sensitivity. Your whole being is instinctively, intuitively, innocently expressing a sensitivity. I'm not going to define it as loss. You're expressing a sense of sensitivity, and it's causing you to withdraw. Others are socializing and sharing. You are withdrawing. Nobody questions your behavior, but you are watching them intuitively, instinctively, innocently, watching them interact. Something is different or strange about your heartbeat of your body, but nothing is questioned here because there's no reason to question anything. Everything is divine. Everything is in the balance. Everything is. You, though, are evolving. You're evolving differently because you are trying to define your state of being. And that's basically unheard of, okay? There's no need to define your state of being. There's no need to define it. Why is there ever a need to define it, you know? And so you're becoming a new type of human. And you cannot deny that something of the change is taking place. And you flash into my eyes what we call from the Bible, you know, the Lucifer event, right? The serpent, the Satan event. And you're showing me that the evolution is actually where we started to ask questions about our experiences. And nothing bad, there's nothing bad about this. It was just the next evolutionary state. We today would say, oh, wow, I would love to experience myself as the heartbeat and just innocently and intuitively just function without having to question. We would say, wow, I wish our human race was like that today. There was no inspiration to hurt anybody. There's no murder. I don't experience that the body was inspired. The heartbeat of the whole body was inspired to take someone's life. No, it was all very natural. Everything happened naturally. And there's no need to question it. The evolution, something changes in the wind and you are different. You're evolving differently. And your expression of withdrawal has you reflecting on your relationship with your life. They're literally showing me parallel between you and what is a biblical reference to a Garden of Eden environment where the first humans existed, okay? And that's how I'm to define it to you, okay? And you as a community in a Garden of Eden environment evolving into a place, a new state of being, it just naturally happens where you start to ask questions about your life experience. This feels like it's becoming painful, emotionally painful. And there's a change because, oh man, it's hard. Your blood circulation is changing between your feet, your legs, and your hands. And the way that the blood pumps through your body is changing, and it's starting to basically define you as having a heart center now. You're not a heart, you're a heart center, which is giving you access to more. They're saying that Garden of Eden, we would say, oh, they had everything. We still have everything. We actually have more, access to more. We've evolved into accessing more. So is this Lucifer event destroying us or taking something away, or we haven't adjusted to the more that we've been given access to as a gift and a blessing? Okay, I'm supposed to remain, and this is something Xavier wants to tell you about, okay? All right. So, everything. As I talk about the Garden of Eden people, it's almost like a very pleasant place for you to reminisce, okay? And when I bring Xavier's name into it, it makes everything sort of become hard to breathe, and the blood pumps strangely, and the evolution and the newness. It's not like it's confusing though. It's just a desire to relate differently to life. But this feels like the birth of what is a new emotion of sadness, okay? Like withdraw is self-reflection, but this self-reflection is saying there's something different about me, still intuitive and instinctive and innocent without damaging self-worth. It just is, okay? What is Xavier saying? Because every time I try to bring him in, because this is his message to you, is to reveal this, it's like it's almost impossible for me to interpret more of the message. So I'm going to have to just deviate into how things are changing, okay? So Xavier's energy, it's almost like he's not of the Garden of Eden community. I don't know if he's a traveler from a distant star and wow, look at this planet and these people in this Garden of Eden community on Earth, okay? And he feels like he comes from somewhere else. But he doesn't have a spaceship or anything. It's like he travels through light, fragments of light. And I see him traveling through the light that shines between the trees. And your eye looks through the tree leaves into the community and people interacting, and you aren't the same right now. And he's watching the community. He sees you. And through his eyes, he actually has a heartbeat of his own kind. And as it pulsates, his vision is more like grayish purples and strange purpley blues. And like everything is veins. Everything is veins and arteries, and it's blood pumping through everything, okay? And he's not necessarily more intrigued by you than the others, but he's noticing you're different than they are. But he values everybody the same. He values everybody the same. So he sees that you're doing something different than them, but he doesn't see that as more special or more interesting than everybody else. He sees everybody else as equals. And he doesn't necessarily attach his heart energy specifically to you. He connects it to everybody equally. And what he does is he sends branches of a tree that is invisible to the Garden of Eden community. You don't actually see him. And he sends these branches of the tree through everybody's center, heart center. Oh, I see. And time is changing. Time is basically standing still. When time stands still, all the Garden of Eden people don't notice this happening, but you do. You see. They're timed out, but you're actually active in this timeless moment. That's quite strange. But he doesn't ever question anything himself because he knows everything is in the balance of the nature of the universe. So just because you're doing things differently than the others doesn't give reason to question. It's just the way the ripple flows, okay? And you start to walk towards him and your eyes say, "Who are you?" very kindly, very gently. And he has no choice but to look at you directly, which then takes him away from the equality of everybody. And because his attention now is solely focused on you, now there's a blip in time where more energy was dedicated to one instead of the whole. And that creates its own blip, its own ripple, okay? He already knows this, and in a way, his heart drops into his stomach. But he can't deviate from it himself because, again, he must not question anything, and everything is as it's meant to be. And something of him now, it literally pulls out of the light threads and now is born into this Garden of Eden community, and you are both still eye to eye with one another. And you instantly fall into each other's arms, basically. Like time continues, and he is here now with you, and he is this lover. And you become weak, and he holds you, and you passionately kiss one another. And the whole universe is silent to you both. And you're in this immaculate light of holy sexual bliss. And it's different than what our sexuality is like here. It's like, it's almost like they can move in between time and light, because I feel your bodies shed the physical aspect and become a sphere of perfect light. And the sensation of lovemaking is just off the charts. It's just unbelievable what that feels like. And there's again just its own divine time about it. And then you again are eye to eye in contact and seeing one another, and you're inseparable, completely and utterly inseparable. Something again is speaking to your heart differently than everybody else. And you, because you are noticeably, where everybody is the color green, you are the color yellow, okay? You are definitely different. Even Xavier is blending in with the community, and you are noticeably different. And that's what brings in, you're channeling something new. This is a big deal. This is special. Okay, I want me to describe what it is that you're picking up on. And you and Xavier will define it as are married. We'll define it as you are lovers, connected, you are married. Because there just feels like a soul commitment, okay? That's the only way I could define it, is a complete and utter soul commitment that is unquestionable. It doesn't need to be questioned. It doesn't even need to exist in a concept where people have to get married. That doesn't exist at all. It's just such a natural exchange. It's just like a no-brainer, and nobody needs to question it, you know? It's so free. It's so ridiculously free. All right, something feels different in your heart, and it's rattling you. And again, setting you apart from the collective flow. And I feel kind of a grayness, there's a gloomierness that you are picking up on. And nobody questions, all right? Nobody's questioning anything. However, Xavier is picking up on you, and the desire to make eye contact with you and remain in a state of eye contact for a time is inspired, okay? Because he feels you're different than the others, and you're circulating differently, and you are different. And so again, his attention is focused on you and is focused away from the collective group as a state of equality, okay? And you die. You end up dying. I mean, I see you basically fall into weakness, and you become very yellow-skinned, and Xavier now is adopting a need to question. Why did that happen? Why were you outside the box, basically? Why did you pull him away from the equality? Why you and him? Why do you get this time to be lovers only for you to have a change in heart, and now you die? Now, where does that leave him? So do you see there's a ripple, a very noticeable ripple that's kind of just like spreading like wildfire here. And he's not even of the same people. He's a traveler of the universe. He came through a beam of light. He just came here, okay? So I feel he's different himself from the others. But he's accepted without question as part of the family, as part of everybody. But he is different. He comes from a different energetic makeup, okay? And guides are like, it's going to be hard to define. It's going to be hard communication-wise with English language to really define, because realistically, we're all sharing an experience. We really come from different energetic makeups, but they understand why I interpret him in that way, and it helps us to see that he too is different. You're different. He comes in, you inspire him, he becomes different. Now see how change is happening. Okay, but vibrationally though, he is noticeably an outsider vibrationally to me, okay? He lingers he has silent thoughts. He has no thought at all, basically, but his digestion is basically in a state of silent meditative question that isn't necessarily emotionally destroying of him, but he basically keeps his eyes open for a very long time and stares at your remains. And it seemed like you died and you became yellow and you just lingered, almost like you're becoming a crystal or a stone. But you don't look like a human body. You look like you're becoming an actual really unique stone that becomes part of the planet. And he stays by the stone and he just looks at it. And he's absorbing a communication, a silent communication, and he's withdrawn from the community as well. He is deciding deep down inside if he will remain or if he will travel to another location. He feels he has no more further purpose here, but he can't deny that he doesn't want to leave you. And it's not thought out like, what's my future look like if I just sit here by this stone for the rest of my life? That's definitely not his thought process, because there's no connection with time at all. There's no deciphering what tomorrow looks like. It's just, what's my heart feel about this and who I am, and it's like constantly in a state of now, okay? What he does is he ends up... It's almost like he has a burial. It's in this way, all right? He collects what is spheres that are red, and then there's a really dark blue one, and he makes a necklace. And he places this necklace, what would be on kind of like the head of the stone. And it doesn't necessarily just go on the stone. It's just sort of awkwardly there. And he kisses what would have been your face. And he says, it is time now for me to move on. And this creates a rip, okay? Because you're not exactly dead. You're just transformed into new life. But his soul knows he must continue on with his life. But actually a rip is taking place. When he returns to the beams of light to go elsewhere, it's like he's never able to get past the sensation of when he first made eye contact with you. So when he goes to the beams of light, he gets stuck in the memory of his eye contact with you. And that's quite emotionally derailing. It's almost like being electrocuted, and he's severely in sorrow. He's in severe sorrow. And he starts to just literally, I want to call it bleed out, but the tears are like blood tears. And the anguish and sorrow is unimaginable because he knows he loves you, and it's unimaginable, in an unimaginable emotional state. And he's stuck in that memory. He's stuck in that memory. And he's working on pulling himself back to the Eden community where he is by your stone, by your side. But he doesn't belong there either. He doesn't belong with you. And now he's trapped in the memory because he made the decision to move on, and he's not allowed to move on. So now he's stuck in time, basically. Stuck in time. Whew. I have to go to him because he's stuck in this. It's like time stopped for everybody except you and him. And he's still in the moment when he first deviates away from equality to move his attention to you and only you. You actually, what they're showing me, that when your heart started to feel uncomfortable, you were having a premonition of what was happening next, which was, it was time for the nature to call you to go through your own transformation process. But because you were already evolving and changing differently, it became complicated. And you transformed into the stone, and he decided to move on, and now he became stuck. Your heart had a premonition of all of this, okay? That's why it didn't feel right. I have no idea what to do next. I'm not meant to talk to the biological mother yet. I'm talking to neon colors and Archangel Michael. Nope. I'm going to have to wait until I interpret it. So I'm just going to stand here in this space with him, watching him, and he can't move. It's a bit of a horror show, to be honest. It seems really unfair that this happened to him. It's not, though, because of the way of the balance of the universe. And this was the inevitable event that was going to take place. But I have no idea how to get him out of this, is what I'm basically saying. I'm in this place and I'm looking at him, and he's also trapped in time, still gazing into your eyes. And he can't get out of it. He can't move. He can't exactly acknowledge me either. And I guess the one thing I'm hesitant about is actually merging with his body. I don't want to. I say I don't want to go into his body. I find it overwhelms me. So I'm just being honest with my guides about that. That's just, I don't know what it is, but there's such a major resistance. Maybe I feel really sad. All right. I'm going to just do it because I know it's the only thing left that I can do. So I just merge with his body. And I walk through him to another dimension, and he's fighting in a war, and it's quite a barren environment. And it's not as if these people need to eat anything. It just feels like their time isn't really the same here. And I don't know if this is all him, that he's fighting with himself, and himself has become a war in some other dimension that actually includes souls living lifetimes in his own creation that is actually his own body all along, brings us back to this Garden of Eden moment. It's complicated, okay? But I see that he has a small dagger and he pulls in lightning bolts into this dagger. And there's all different forms here. I mean, I don't know how to describe the things that are fighting. They don't necessarily look terrifying. Some of them are definitely bird-like, and some of them are more humanoid-like. Those are two distinct facades that I see, okay? And they're both fighting each other, and I'm kind of asking the question, what are they fighting about again? Is this him trying to fight his way out of this memory, or what is this? This is extremely hard, but I know the next thing is for me to guide you into this space now. And you are cracking and crumbling and shaking in order to do this, and it's requiring a lot of your soul. And because the love was so absolutely on another chart of bliss and unfathomable, and it's in its beauty and the meaning of everything, it's just, it's like, it's too much for a human of our present day state, but you can do it. You can do it. Maybe that's what my resistance was, that I was feeling and experiencing. And you walk through the war, and you walk to where he is standing individually pulling the lightning into his sword, his dagger. And you're holding a child. And the next unexpected twist and turn, okay. Now, in your immaculate moment of bliss, a conception took place, okay? And you're pregnant, all right? Now, you die. Nobody, that was not a known thing. It just all seemed to happen so fast. And something of that death also, you couldn't let go of him because something inside of you knew also that you were pregnant. That also caused him to get a bit stuck also because you couldn't let go. He couldn't. It's complicated, okay? And you're showing him this child that has no face, but you say this is our child. And he starts to change into kind of like a rock, a being that is like made out of many rocks, and he has the spikes in his back, and he's kind of making a very loud roar, thunderous roar noise. And he has no way of expressing his emotion because he has been so sad. That wasn't part of what they had in that Eden community. That wasn't part of it, but now they had to go through these incarnations to actually work through what was going on in other emotional states, through other ways of self-expression. And he had no idea, conceivably, of the devastated grief and sadness that he had when you died. And you felt it as well, because you were outside the box. You were starting to channel in something different than everybody else. You could sense it. And something of the thunderous roar silenced the war. And he sheds all these rock layers. And I see his spirit goes into this child so that you could hold him again. And because in a way his soul's still stuck in that time where he made eye contact with you, he was not able to continue in the life because everything that he represents is still working through a representation of severe devastation, okay? He needed you to know about that. And I ask you, I want you to tell me Ask you, not Xavier, okay? Ask you. What does your heart say? What does your heart recommend to help free his soul from this blip in time? You just start to cry and these crystal tears come out of your eyes. All right, I'm going to go to his biological mother, okay? No, I can't leave the scene yet. They're telling me I can't leave the scene yet. Okay. We see neon colors, Archangel Michael. I understand what needs, okay. So, good news is the train tracks, where the train track ends, where the train track begins, in this intermission, you're going through the archives of your soul, and Xavier's coming up, okay? That's what I was like, why Xavier? Why was he pinpointed? Why was he pinpointed? Xavier's coming up. Now, you needed this. You needed this in this intermission of train tracks because you're not ready for that next roller coaster ride. You're not ready for the birth of new until you know about this. Until this intermission into this archive of your souls, this is rehabilitated or mended or neutralized or something, okay? This has to be done. Okay. Guides are like, so things are moving forward. It's just moving forward in a way that the human forgets is moving forward, okay? This deep stuff is major moving forward, okay? Major moving forward. All right, the solution is time. Time is the solution. And something comes from my own soul, and I start to sing a song, and the song creates wind basically and light at the same time, and it wraps him in this breeze and this light, and there's also the flow of water moving through here as well. And I start to see a removal of basically a weed from inside of his heart. And the weed had a poisonous, it had some sense of poison, like a poison ivy, okay? And I see this snake demon. And the snake demon, that's planting seeds of illusion. And this snake demon felt basically challenges with self-worth and wasn't worthy to be part of the Eden community, was trying to get them to change so that they could all be together. Because if he could alter their vibrational state, then they could finally be family and he would have a place where he could belong. And this is a side story of Lucifer's. I mean, this is really vibrationally connected with Lucifer, and it makes me sad because I mean, it just does. It makes me very sad. I just go and I hold this snake and I don't know, I say nothing, but I say so many things in the silence. This still exists in time. That struggle with self-worth. And that's why the seeds were planted in our human race where we struggle with self-worth. And Lucifer has a seed of devastation that he started this ripple. But in his own heart, he knows that time heals everything. And that as we heal, this will heal his own soul. And that's why he is asking for forgiveness. But that's also what he's learned, the power of what he's learned. And choices, right? And the bigger picture of time. In this part of himself still sees himself as an ugliness that he smeared upon humanity. And because of that, him not forgiving himself now, he's basically the snake that's consuming himself, okay? Again, the seed planted. But we all come to Lucifer in this state of devastation, and we all tell him from the hearts of the Garden of Eden community, which we're all part of that tree. And we hold him, and we tell him that we forgive him. Nobody blames you. And it helps us to birth ourselves back into the next evolutionary process, where we start to become a body that is a heartbeat. And we don't feel, we feel a different sense of inspiration that is very reminding me of this Garden of Eden people. We don't need to kill anybody, and everything is perfect. We don't need to question the events that happen. Therefore, there aren't any real lessons here other than to rejoice in our life with each other. And there's no need to feel sorrow or sadness when someone dies. There's no death. There's no sensation of this. And I started to see the poison ivy is burning from the inside out and turns into ash. And I see that Xavier is set free from these shackles, where he's stuck in a blip of time. And I see that the poison inside of the snake is dissolving and the blood is being cleaned. And the snake is granted new life as well. And it's still working on self-worth issues, still working on that. But is able to see now the blessing of what it has created because of how powerful our learning is here on earth. It's hard, but it's powerful. And there's no denying that when you can be grateful for that snake, you have accomplished something profound, truly. And that is the gift. That is the gift. Xavier is still working on some very hardcore soul lessons, okay? And although the shackles are removed, I see he's never able to attain the relationship that he's had with you in that life. He's never able to attain that. I don't experience that anywhere in his timelines. He's had that level of love. And he feels like he'll never reach that ever again. And because something is telling him he'll never have that, he's decided that somewhere, then he never will have it. And so that's creating hardships in you both reuniting, okay? And they're not exactly saying this is a easy fix, like, I snap my fingers, bam, it's done, he can come back now. It's like he has to make the choices inside his soul. He has to go through the lifetimes. He has to do the work. But this is actually setting things in motion that's transforming everything. All of us here on planet Earth are transforming because of your session, because of what's coming through here, between the love of you and Xavier, and Xavier's biological mother who gave us this gift. It's all connected. It's all interconnected. It's ridiculously amazing, you know? It's so cool. It's like, I don't have words. Like, this is just so meaningful. Now I see Xavier's higher self is coming through the side beams. He loves to travel through beams of light. I mean, it just seems like his knack is he just travels through beams of light. It's like, pew, and there's this higher self traveled through a beam of light. His higher self is see-through and also visible. He has kind of a soft orangey hue to him, and I see the stars inside of his body. He's made up of black and white stars, black like the black of space and white stars. And then he has this outline of his complexion as like this soft orangey hue, okay? He comes to you as his higher self and he holds you. And he lifts you up into his light. And he reminds you that he is many. He's not just one, he's many. And he looks at me and he says there's always room for his soul in your life. This aspect of his soul is still working through lessons there's many aspects of his soul. And there are aspects of his soul that you would recognize that are able to enter into your life. And it's almost like, I don't know if that's going to happen in this life or it already is happening in some parallel life, but it seems like there's a very loud vibrational truth that he's returning to you. And there's an essential meaning to him returning to you, and that this part of his soul and the healing that you both experience with one another heals your heart, heals his heart, heals that lifetime, reaches that part of himself to set that part of himself free, to return to himself, to return to you. And that's what I'm being shown here. And I'm shown also about the train tracks that embrace going into the archives if you feel called. Like this is actually better than the train tracks. Like, we think moving forward, I swear to God, this comes from you're in first grade. Now you're in second grade. Now you're in third grade, you know? And there's so much that happens in your life at the younger ages. Like every year you're entering into the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and you're growing in so much and you're learning so much and you're changing so much all the time. And then you get older and it's like, man, life is just like where's the interesting, exciting events? Like life is just a really long, boring time in between these like pockets of like, cool, that happened, you know? I swear there's something strange about it. And so this is actually like super great, juicy stuff. I mean, this sounds dumb, but it's not dumb, okay? It's like diving into the best new Netflix series, and it's like, I am moving forward in life by diving into this Netflix series. I am making my way because it brings us into ourselves, you know? It brings us into ourselves. You're going through a bringing it into yourself event, and it's wonderful. It's phenomenal. So it helps you to disconnect from the concept of the next thing in life or moving forward, because you are inside yourself making incredible headway. I'm supposed to really emphasize that. And the dusky man, it's like, is always a part of who you are. Like it's almost guiding you as like a guide, a mysterious guide, okay? This is very empowering for you and your identity. Very empowering. What we're going to do here is Xavier's higher self and you, okay? All of us. We're going to go to Xavier's biological mother. We're going to give her an incredible, long and generous hug and gratitude for her and the gift that she's bestowed upon all of us in this life. And I'm sure the grief she's been through and the loss of her own child that you were given this child to raise. It's a powerful exchange. Yeah, I see she too needs healing, because I'm going and I'm literally just, my hand is on her heart, and she has a part of her that's like in real despair. It's almost like she's in the clutches of something that's she can't get unstuck from, okay? She's like always squirming and trying to get out of this, and she's just held down. And she feels weak and powerless to this, and I just hold her heart. I don't know if that's the death of Xavier, or if it's something she's going through in life that has been kind of haunting her life, something of this kind. And I show her you, and I show her me, I show her Archangel Michael. I fill her with neon colors, and you and I both give each other a high five. We found a way to bring in the neon colors. We found a way to do it. Archangel Michael's here, and he tells you, he bows to you, and he says that he will take good care of her and help her to face this specific demon that's really, she's been squirming and trying to get out of this, and it's going to help her to face this so she can set herself free. Xavier too is holding her hand the entire time. And we're all sending light into her. And I've seen neon colors, and there's just like a swirl, like a hippie t-shirt or something that is like swirling in every direction. And some of them become like fireworks in the sky. And she really needed this to ignite her light. Not classic colors, but neon colors, something a little bit more volume intense, okay? And I see the neon colors just creating an interesting, basically cube shape around her. And I see Archangel Michael is here. And he touches the cube shape, and he stands by her side. And she's inside. It gives her breathing room. And something of these neon colors act like a digestive stomach. So it's like the black tourmaline, you know, it inhales the negative, exhales the positive. So it's like these neon colors become like a stomach around her, and are breathing in the negative and exhaling the positive. So what she's breathing in is constantly positive energy, positive new energy. And then Archangel Michael's protecting this gift so that she can reap the full reward of it. No matter what is in her way, no matter how she is in her own way, no matter what is attracted to her struggle, okay? And then I see Xavier blows you a kiss, and I see you returning to your physical body, and you feel a major purification of your soul from this. Major purification. You feel resurrected. Big time. All right. I mean, wow. Like, I mean, what do you say after something like that? That was incredible, and I'm very grateful, feel very blessed to have this experience, and feel very blessed to be able to share this with others. I mean, wow. Thank you so very much for this. Truly a gift to humanity. Thank you everybody for watching as well. Thank you for all your love and support of my clients and my YouTube channel, and I hope you all have an incredible rest of your day.